My name is Elena Krasnow. Welcome to Press Play, the Street Cred podcast. I'm so grateful you're here. I'm the marketing manager at Street Cred PR and your host for today's show, along with managing partner and co-host Jimmy Moock. We will break down the show into two segments: Press, where we dive into all the hard news about our guests' life and their professional goals, and then Play, where we have a little extra fun with it. Today, Jimmy and I are very excited to host one of our favorite voices in the industry, Emily Binder. To give our listeners a little more background on Emily, she is the founder of WealthVoice, the top voice AI marketing platform for podcasters and financial professionals, and is the founder and chief strategist of Beetle Moment Marketing. Beetle Moment is a boutique marketing agency known for delivering successful strategies to billion-dollar RIAs, custodians, funds, and podcasters since 2017. Emily's North Star is marketing for durable businesses amidst emerging technology. She has worked with brands ranging from startups to Fortune 500 companies, including names like Tiger 21, Ritholtz Wealth Management, TD Ameritrade, and Budget Rent-A-Car. She is also an in-demand public speaker, having presented to live and virtual audiences of over 30,000 people at events like Futureproof, Jolt, Social Media Week, and more. And Emily hosts the award-winning mini podcast, Voice Marketing with Emily Binder. Emily, thanks so much for being on the show with us.
You're welcome. I'm happy to be here, Elena.
Welcome aboard. Looking forward to it.
Hi, Jimmy. Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
You are someone in the industry that Jimmy and I both admire so much, and we're so excited that you agreed to join us. I got like a little giggly when I messaged you on LinkedIn and was like, hey, will you be on the show? And you were like, yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah, of course. I was happy to join you guys. I love you PR people. Like, we have so many things in common. And I was on the panel with Jason at Nitrogen, and I just got a vibe for what you guys do in Street Cred. And I always have liked you and your style. So I was happy to do it.
Well, the feeling is mutual. And that was a kick-ass panel at Nitrogen. That was so fun.
The secret panel.
Yes.
I loved it.
So good. Well, we can't wait to, get into everything about your story and your journey as an entrepreneur. But we ask all of our guests a very important first question, which is, what did you have for lunch today?
I like to do a great big shake in the Vitamix. My shakes are very intricate. So Kachava is the protein powder of choice. I've tried them all. That's the best bang for your buck. Protein per calorie, plant-based, no additives. And then I'll put in frozen bananas, frozen blueberries. And then I'll do one that has either cauliflower or broccoli or kale, because you get there's a compound in there that's like anti-inflammatory. So you want one of those. And of course you need like hemp seeds, flax seeds, chia seeds, one of those, maybe a little almond butter, maca root powder for libido, all those ingredients. It's like a huge thing I drink for hours.
I have a Vitamix as well, and I kind of do a similar routine, although my ingredients are a little different. So you're giving me some inspiration with like cauliflower and broccoli. We usually do spinach. What are your thoughts on the mushroom powder trend?
Oh, it's great. It's great.
Yeah,
the
we do that too.
chaga, all of that. The coffee powders like mud water and rise. Rise is terrible. Sorry, it is. Mud water is delicious. So if you're going to go try to like get your caffeine down.
What about psychedelic mushroom powder?
Fabulous. Microdose.
Let's do it.
Anxiety.
Cool. Yeah. So Elena will not believe this. And Emily, it's okay that it should be indifferent to you, but guess who had a green smoothie today for breakfast? That would be me. And I had a lot of the ingredients that you just offered. But I've got a follow-up, because you had mentioned plant protein. What is the big difference between whey and plant? Does it really matter? I have no idea. All I know is that they are both an add-on to my shake, and it's about a 40-cent differential between plant and whey.
It depends on your goals. I'm not an expert, but I try to do less dairy. Cow pus, it's not really natural for us. I'll have ice cream sometimes, but if I'm doing like a milk-based product, I'm going plant. And I think it's a little inflammatory for me. Like Tyrone he's got this whey powder. He's always talking about Tyrone Ross. I just don't want the dairy. Yeah. But I'm looking at protein and non-sugar. Whey has naturally occurring a little more sugar than plant-based usually. But for a big guy like you, it's not a concern. I'm just trying to kind of optimize every little thing. you know?
Big guy. Just
Calorie.
so you know, I've lost about 11 pounds since the
I
last time
mean
you
like a
saw
big,
me.
strong man. I don't mean,
And
like
There
men
was
are
a
less.
positive connotation there, Jimmy.
I meant it in a
okay.
good way. Like, you're not counting
Okay.
every little calorie. You are more metabolically active every step you take. You can eat more.
Awesome. I will take the compliment, but I am trying to get to my original weight of 8 pounds, 9 ounces, just so you know.
I always just want to not be lying on my driver's license. That's the goal.
Oh my
There you
gosh, I
go.
had to get a new driver's license lately, and my old one was, 10 years old or whatever. And I was like, 105 pounds? No, that's no longer
My own is
true.
never that low.
Well, being 5'1" and petite in college, but no longer, no longer. Wow, I didn't know you had such a nutritionist background. This is perfect for our
That's
show.
one of my career paths untaken, probably. You'll ask me about that later. I'm prepared.
Oh, you
I
and
have
Diana
another answer
Caprices
too.
should talk about this because she also has a lot to say on that topic.
Right, right. She knew all about the natural toothpastes. Like,
Yes.
hello. I
Yes.
remember.
Okay, awesome. Let's get into it. I have so many questions for you. We certainly won't get to all of them, but we'll do our best. Tell us a little bit about your background, your professional journey to date. How did you get into financial services, voice marketing, and kind of what inspired you to found WealthVoice and Beetle Moment?
7 years ago, I was living in Atlanta. I had a bunch of different marketing jobs. I was 30 at the time, and I got laid off, which I knew was coming. And I just was like, I'm done with the job employee 9 to 5 kind of thing. I'm ready to do my own thing. And I happened to visit Austin to go to a concert. And this is adult summer camp. Like, this is my spot. It had a really good vibe. It felt more healing. Atlanta was a very tense vibe, just like the energy of the city.
I
was ready for something a little more communal, and it felt good here. So I moved here. I didn't have a job. I didn't have any friends. Kind of just started from scratch, opened my consultancy, Beetle Moment. Got very lucky the first year, having a couple of clients that had been like previous employers that were at new companies. You get lucky with that, but a lot of the time, the first year, it's just hard to get new clients. You guys know, you started this. And then it's marketing and branding. That's always been my background. The voice thing was a passion. I've had a podcast on and off since 2010, actually. And I saw the Alexa flash briefing thing starting to take hold like 2015 onward. And I thought, why isn't there an easy way to make this happen? It was just a nightmare with like how much manual coding you would have to do. And I thought this is a really good use case for mini pods, which is my favorite thing, like short form.
Yeah.
Brevity is the genius, right?
Mm-hmm.
So long story short, I started doing mini pods flash briefings as kind of the primary offering, and ended up working with Josh Brown and the Ritholtz guys back in like 2018. And that led to more financial services clients. But we've always had an agnostic kind of whatever industry we can do marketing. Financial services is probably my favorite. Always been a student of markets myself. I think it's really interesting and important. And then 2020, I had the idea for basically a content management system to do these Alexa apps. It's called WealthVoice. And during COVID, people were freaking out, just like the most volatility we ever saw in a single month. It was like May, June of 2020.
Yeah.
There was an easy way to calm everybody down with the sound of your voice. This didn't exist. I thought picks and shovels, right? So you look, where's technology heading? At that point, all the hockey stick charts, it's voice interaction, like tap, type, and swipes going away. Why isn't there a WordPress or a Squarespace to build a voice thing? Like, I can build my tap type website, but so WealthVoice is that. And the two businesses play together. So I'm still running both of those and doing a lot of voice stuff, podcasting stuff, and marketing strategy still.
Really cool.
You hit on something in terms of the sound of voice, lowering stress. Elena and I obviously work in a highly stressful field, that is PR. For about the past 8 months, when I go to bed now, I am listening to either podcasts or books, like books on tape, Audible, right? So right now I'm cycling through The Godfather, Godfather 2, Godfather 3, and all these other Mario Puzo books. But like, that is why I do it, just to hear someone talking in the room that has a kind, gentle voice, and chances are I probably go through like 15 chapters a night, and I'm out in 15 minutes. So I hear you on
I do
that
the same
point.
thing. I try not to do the blue light too close, like even 2 hours before bed, because
Same.
I'm pretty sensitive. It takes me a long time to calm down.
Yep.
Social media, not a good idea for me before bed. So audiobooks or podcasts, I'm the same. And I'll just be in bed for 2 hours listening to something with the
Totally.
orange light, not the blue light, like the Himalayan salt lamp and candles.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
You're talking my language.
I've got the candle game too. I'm just kidding.
I love a strong
Could you imagine?
bedtime routine. Kind of, maybe.
Sure. It's natural.
In a
Firelight.
future iteration of self, I could see it, Jimmy. You never know who you'll be in 5 years.
This is true.
This is true. Well, one of the things I really loved about interacting with you in this space is seeing you speak at conferences. You always have such a unique perspective paired with some amazing anecdote about a Fortune 500 company either failing or succeeding at something that has always really resonated with me. Like I still remember you presenting on Post-its. I still remember you talking about the Tiffany necklace fail, which I found so fascinating because I knew so many women who had that freaking necklace. What advice would you give to other speakers in our industry hoping to create these like engaging standout presentations like you do?
I look for interesting moments in culture, pop culture, my personal experience. That's where the most juicy little anecdotes and stories come from. Like the Tiffany necklace, that was around the year 2001, and it has nothing to do with financial services per se, but the lessons from things that we've experienced in our lives, like when Gap or Tropicana updated their logo and everyone was up in arms, or NPR changed the music and like the driveway moment was forever different. And there's always a storm for like 2 weeks of people being mad about the change, but some of these brands, handle it well and others don't.
Yeah.
There's that. And then the other parallel that I'm really interested in is the parallel between business and dating. To answer your question, though, the thing with speaking is it takes a really long time to get decent at it. It's just like stand-up comedy. You just have to get in the reps.
Yep.
And if anyone listening is interested in speaking, the biggest advice I can give you is get video footage of literally everything you do. Even when you're speaking for free the first year or two, the video, the reel is the most important thing. That's how you can then get paid and ascend. And
yeah,
the topics, it's not about being perfect or sounding smart. It's about more so being entertaining, because you're asking someone to pay attention for 30 or 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, don't be dry. I used to do such dry talks. They were technical. Like, this is how the AI interaction works on Alexa. People want to hear about the necklace that, changed Tiffany, or like women do, or just other brand blenders that they can relate to, or examples of things that did go well that maybe inspire them. And things from outside the industry are always more juicy.
Yeah.
So 2 things. You might not know this, but I always wanted to be a comedian. Turns out I am scared of being on stage. My timing sucks and I have no material. So I fell back into PR.
Well, that was good timing. The way you just inserted that anecdote. I disagree with you.
I do too.
It's actually a standing joke. Like, that was prepared. I say it all the time. And the other one is I always wanted to be a football player, but I can't run, catch, or tackle. Anyway, I was hearing you there, and especially in terms of capturing video of yourself, because that's directly related to media training, right? Being in front of a camera, whether you're on Yahoo Finance or CNBC. During the media training process, when we show clients a practice mock round of themselves, the next take is demonstrably better because they see themselves, warts and all, and first of all, they're like surprised that they are that bad. But every time they do it, the improvement is so real and awesome. Any thoughts on that?
Yes, you have to be exposed to something that may be uncomfortable, which is the sound or sight of yourself. And naturally, in nature, there are no mirrors. There's a pond you can kind of see yourself in.
Yeah.
We see ourselves all day on Zoom. They've said that Gen Z is getting Botox younger and younger. We're not used to looking at every little flaw and imperfection maybe twice a day before we had all of this technology that we're on all day looking at ourselves. So
Totally.
there's that. Sure, it's awkward. I agree, Jimmy. Like, you just have to look. And there is, of course, maybe you guys have tips on this, but like the finesse of translating to somebody, you look like you're anxious. You're breathing a little weird. How do you say that without hurting someone's feelings? There's always the delivery. But the sound of the voice is sometimes even more jarring to somebody than how they look on camera, because we've all seen ourselves in the mirror or photo, but you don't hear your own voice very often unless you are a podcaster. And it sounds different from the way it echoes in your head the past few decades of your life when it's out in the air.
Totally. Yeah, I bet you run into that all the time. I can't tell you how many times I've heard someone say, oh, I just listened to a video of myself and heard my voice and it was like nails on a chalkboard. I never want to hear that again.
I can't do it unless I'm a little bit buzzed. I'm going to be totally honest. I have to have a few beers in me if I'm going to be listening to myself on this podcast.
So Jimmy re-listens to our podcast late at night with a beer, and that's the only way I can do it.
Outside on the deck.
Actually, you know what, though? Anybody that's interested in tips about liking the sound of your voice, there's a woman, Laura Lario. She's a nervous system expert, but I interviewed her. We have a video on my YouTube channel. It's called like Voice Tips, Nervous System Expert. Just look up YouTube Emily Binder, and she gives you like a tongue exercise to loosen up your throat and calm you down. And you want to go into like a lower register a lot and slow down from when we get kind of high, where the air is coming at the top of the lungs and your voice gets a little higher and faster. Then the person who's listening to you, the mirror neurons are firing and they're starting to feel more anxious because you're anxious.
Wow, that's fascinating. I want to go back a little bit to something else you alluded to, which is your current fascination with the parallels between business and dating. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yes. I keep thinking about this. It's more than I ever realized. Okay, in my early 20s, well, let's say late 20s, I had a boyfriend who was in the executive recruiting space. And I learned quite a bit about the psychology of everything about the dance of hiring, job search, negotiation, salary, all of that. I do some content on it, even though it's not my main thing, but I just think it's important and people need to be empowered about that process.
Sure.
So I've always thought, okay, business and dating are similar, the dance of when you're getting hired. Do you like me? Do you want me? Are both of us interested? Who's going to make the first move kind of thing? But then it goes deeper than that, because like, look at marketing and look at sales and the way that we're trying to woo somebody or get them to do what we want them to do. Get them to transact with us, hire us. It's the same flirtation. It's the same dance. And I see the same mistakes. So when you're in a dating scenario, what's unattractive? Desperation. That's a universal repellent. Marketing and sales, desperation as a repellent. How many times have you gotten an email where it was like, hey, just checking in, just following up, and it's from a salesperson, and you're immediately like, my cortisol is firing. They're trying to sell me something. They're not my friend. I know what they're doing. This is transparent.
Yes.
There's other ways to go about it where you actually elevate your status versus lowering your status by being desperate. Same in dating, same in sales and marketing.
Does this kind of play into, I think I saw you post something once about how you want to make it really easy for people to unsubscribe.
Oh, like, that is,
that anti-desperation.
Good point, Elena. That's such a, yes. Okay. Why in the footer of emails is the unsubscribe link tiny and hidden? You want people to unsubscribe. If they're not into it, all of your stats are suffering by sending emails to people that don't want to receive them and might mark you as spam, aren't opening them, aren't clicking. Ultimately, it can get very expensive if you're a large brand because you're paying to reach 40% of the list that doesn't want to hear from you. Giant unsubscribe button. If this isn't for you, opt out, no hard feelings. Same in dating. You don't want to waste your time with somebody that doesn't want to be with you.
Yeah.
The font size too on the unsubscribes totally drives me nuts.
Yes.
And yeah, I hear you loud and clear in terms of you don't want to waste time dating somebody that you know is not the right fit. I don't know if I should right now, but I'm feeling a little bit rambunctious about coming clean on someone that I was recently dating.
Ooh.
And I had to call it off, believe it or not, because it was too early in the dance, I guess, or the engagement of dating, where she dropped the term babe. And then she started using it way too often. And I was like, whoa, slow your roll. Like, why are you using this word so soon? And I ended up, doing the, not the online ghost, because obviously we're talking and texting and seeing each other, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know. Maybe there's something connected to both marketing and PR with that too. Taking that like advance maneuver way too soon could be a turnoff versus the continuing to draw them in. I don't know. Or maybe maybe I'm jumping to conclusions here. I don't know.
I think that's a great one. It's the level of familiarity is unnatural and rushed, which is of course transparent because what they're trying to do is establish intimacy that hasn't built naturally.
Yep.
Just like a company that's talking to you like your best friends. I buy butter. Butter is not my friend. The social media account of the butter brand isn't my friend. Like, this is not, it's not the same. Why are you talking to me that way?
Yeah.
Just tell me it's grass-fed. Where can I buy it? You're not my family member.
Hey,
what brand of butter do you buy?
Kerrygold Irish butter.
Us too. Wow, I need to raid your fridge and compare notes.
I love that, Jimmy. You know what, though? Like, it's good that you didn't ghost because that's just immature and cruel, especially if you've established weeks or months.
Yeah.
I wonder if she'll figure it out. I don't know. Sometimes it's good to give people that hard feedback, but
well, I have a news flash.
What?
She's engaged and getting married.
Oh, wow.
And it happened very quickly, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so she's anxious attachment. She found another person who was probably
dying to hear the word babe.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people are looking for that security and they feel like the clock is ticking, right? And then it's such a huge decision. People rush into it and then it becomes very painful when it fails. Very expensive too.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong. There's also the part of me that thinks to myself, am I partly insane? Should I have not, fixated on the use of one word? Because otherwise we got along really great. But it was something that just like ate away at me. I don't know.
Well, but it's energetic and it's probably a symptom of a larger thing, which is she wanted too much too soon and wasn't letting it's unnatural to, I don't love you. I've known you 2 weeks. What?
Yeah.
I haven't seen you through 4 seasons of a year. I haven't seen you through a difficult situation and how you handled it. I just like that you like me and I want to be around you for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep. Well, Jimmy's Red Shoe Diaries, I guess, right?
There you go. Get a little dating tea in the middle of this. But I like the business analogy you drew there too, Emily. It's definitely there.
There's a thread to this idea of being thirsty. It doesn't work in dating. It doesn't work in sales and marketing. And most brands come off thirsty. Think about it.
Yeah.
And they're very like, this is a mistake on dating profiles. It's all me, or what I'm looking for you to be. It's like, I'm looking for a woman who loves to stay home or go out. I'm looking for a woman who's in really good shape and smart, but she's not a gold digger and she has her own career. But you let me take care of her. It's like, who are you, John? What do you have to offer?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why are you telling me what I need to be to get you? It's all backwards, but brands do the same thing all the time.
So true. Well, pivoting from brand blunders in both dating and business, we want to hear one of your favorite success stories of a brand that you worked with where voice marketing and your offering like really changed the game for them.
I have a really good brand new story to tell you about.
Yay.
We just launched a podcast for Tiger 21. It's called Next with Tiger 21. You can go to tiger21.com/podcast to check it out. Dropped episode 1. The guest is Howard Morgan from Renaissance Technologies, the Medallion Fund, most successful fund of all time. Cool. Major guy. And we we are doing YouTube clips, and obviously the audio podcast is on Spotify and Apple and all that, but I'm really all about YouTube Shorts. I've talked about this for a couple years. It's my favorite, I guess you could say, platform of the internet at the moment. It's so juicy. It's so like, it's the best thing you can do for the lowest amount of effort, and the amount of impressions that you can get, an audience you can attract, is better than TikTok. And it has obviously Google and YouTube behind it. So in that regard, it is better than TikTok for brands.
Definitely.
Tiger 21, we launched the podcast, and then within a single day, we drove over 2,000 views, which was the highest on the channel's lifetime. We had over 2,300 unique new viewers, over 1,000 views on the top short within 2 hours, shorts in the YouTube feed, right?
Wow.
This is like, if you have a YouTube channel and you're not doing shorts, do them right now. Like, they're 1-minute vertical videos. They're like TikTok, but they have the benefits of search from the YouTube and Google platform. And they can link over to the longer horizontal videos, related videos. So then you have tons of people, top of the funnel, get 10,000 views in an hour. And some of them will actually come to your page, subscribe, watch the longer videos. It's huge.
Wow.
So I'm really excited about that podcast. The caliber of the guests, like, best I've ever worked with. Unreal.
I bet.
Fun.
Well, it's Tiger 21. So I'm sure it's easy to open up some doors and have people answer the call to be a guest. That's amazing. And
they're interviewing members. It's like we're doing a special 6-part limited season 1, and it's all interviews with members. And it's like, these members are already ultra successful. And out of those, we're interviewing the ones that are probably like top 50 most impactful, world-changing businesses, entrepreneurial leaders, and often ones you haven't heard of, which is what's so cool. It's like they're under the radar.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's really cool.
That's what I'm most excited about right now as far as client work.
Very cool. Well, we'll have to tap in.
Yeah. And we obviously have some work to do on the YouTube front, it seems. I think we're now there with what, 1 episode? Is that right? But you got to give us some grace. I mean, we are only on episode, what, 11, 15?
This is 15. Yeah.
15. Okay. So
lucky 15.
Baby steps. We'll get there.
It's actually better not to do the videos out the gate with this particular format, I think, because you're going to get better. By now, you're probably 15 times better than you were on episode 1. Why would you want a video out there when you were like just figuring it out kind of thing?
I don't even know what my face looked like on that first video, and I don't want to know.
Never like good time to start now.
I was probably projecting the anxiety that would repel listeners, so I'm glad there's no video proof of that.
People are also forgiving, though. You guys know, like, you do media training.
It's true.
The audience is usually rooting for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We like to think so. We hope so.
But sometimes being in my shoes, I love to watch for somebody that's terrible on TV. and then I scream at them, and then I try to find the link, and then I show it to everybody at the staff. And I was like, what did she or he do wrong? So
that's also the media trainer in you, though.
Right. But otherwise, yes, I am normally rooting for people because I know what it takes to do well on television and to reach out and talk to your audience versus simply answering the question that you were asked.
Yeah.
Versus, almost responding to the question that you were asked, but you're pretending that it was the one that you wish you were asked, so that you are able to reach out to clients or prospects or potential partners. But yeah, I get it. I normally root, but sometimes I am the guy throwing, popcorn at them or something. I don't know.
It's hard. I guess with the rooting on TV, we are less so rooting for people because we're more like, entertain me, go clown. I have limited attention. But when it's on stage, then you are in the moment with somebody and you're like, I can feel how nervous you are right now. I have sympathy for you. Like, it's not natural for a human being to be on stage.
Totally.
Yeah.
You guys know why this is the #1 fear?
Tell us.
No.
I learned this from Whitney Cummings. She's an expert in ancestral trauma and all things from the past. But so it goes back to the cave days when we lived in these tribal societies. The only time that you would do what we would feel is sort of public speaking when you're presenting to the group is when you were on trial for committing some kind of crime and you were going to be banished. If you are banished, you die because you will starve. You have to be with the group to survive. That's the only time we would present our case to a group of people when you're on trial for your life. So it's still that fight or flight when you're on stage because your body is like, oh my God, we're on trial for our life right now.
That makes so much sense. Yeah. That's wild. Well, now that I have that in mind, I'm going to have even more grace for every person I ever see on stage. It's like, you're not on trial. We love you. Okay. So I also want to ask you, Emily, what connections, and we've talked about this a little bit, but what are the most powerful connections you see between voice marketing and public relations? How do these two spheres of the marketing world really overlap and empower one another?
Podcasts come to mind first. There's lots of opportunities for PR to use the idea of a podcast to kind of shine the light on a brand, and they're doing authentic storytelling. I don't know. I mean, you guys are the experts with the PR side. I see podcasting and anything somebody's doing on voice as a great marketing activity. Yeah. And I think when you're pitching, it's probably always useful or helpful to say, and they've interviewed Howard Morgan, or like check out our latest guest.
Yep. Yeah, totally. I think, and we definitely merchandise our clients to a lot of different podcasts. That's a big part of our strategy for various clients. And I think that can be a really effective and different way to help clients tell their story, especially if they're not just on their own podcast, but being featured as guests on prominent podcasts in the industry. And then to the point of something you said earlier, like really helps personalize the person because you're hearing them speak. And so it's more organic than an article that they've written that's placed in Think Advisor or something like that. It just allows you to see more of their personality and connect with them a little bit more.
Yes. And when it's a top tier podcast, wonderful. Like that's a built-in win. And a lot of the listeners will probably have a high completion rate, finishing the full hour. But if it's not a well-known podcast, those video clips are even more important. Because that's so all anybody's going to watch or listen to. They're not doing a 45-minute investment in a show they haven't heard of that's somewhat, let's call it maybe an average level or novice show. Clips.
Yeah,
totally get it. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Elena, we've got homework to do.
That we do.
I'll help you guys. We can clip this. We can do it.
Oh my gosh, I would love that.
For all three of us, yeah.
Amazing. All right.
We should do the dating part because that's going to get the most views, right?
Yeah, totally.
Definitely. That is some strong clickbait right there.
I don't need my example to be viewed thousands of times and then I get a phone call from a certain someone.
Babe. I got the itch, babe.
Oh my gosh. That's what we'll call the short. Okay, well, let's flip it to our play segment. This is sort of a pseudo rapid fire segment, but feel free to take your time. If it weren't financial services, what do you think you'd be doing?
There's two alternate career paths other than making Vitamix recipes.
Which I fully support, for the record.
Yeah. It's very competitive on Instagram to be a food influencer. I'm not interested anymore, but I'd love to do the soundtracks for movies. I want to pick the songs. I know all the best music. I always know the song that fits for a certain moment. And when I was in high school and college, I thought I would go into something with soundtracks and movies and music.
That's cool. I could see you being great at that. Makes perfect sense.
What's your favorite genre of movies?
I guess drama and also like psychological thrillers.
Yes.
Okay. So soundtrack wise, you guys know The Social Network. Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross did the score. They also did Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. But The Social Network, that score is so phenomenal. In fact, the trailer for that movie is better than the movie. It's the best trailer of all time, I think. Yeah. It's like 2.5 minutes, and it's a cover of, I want to say, Creep by Radiohead. Okay. But it's like, it's with the choral. You got to go watch it. That's a cool movie. Other great soundtracks. And same for TV. If you look at like Grey's Anatomy or 6 Feet Under or some of those shows like Sopranos, oh my God. Yeah. Golden era of television. The music made it too. Yeah. It's half the show and half the music.
I mean, the beginning of The Sopranos is the absolute best. Watching that trailer, even when I rewatched The Sopranos recently on Amazon, you know how you always get the opportunity to skip intro. I
Yeah.
like hardly did it just because I love like the music gets you in the mood for what's to follow. Now, if I was sitting on the couch being a lazy ass and I was watching like 4 or 5 in a row, I'm not going to watch the music every time, but oftentimes I would. And on Facebook or the social network, I don't know. Do you think it was so widely viewed because, like, think about Facebook at the time? It couldn't have been hotter. Everybody was on it. And now there was, for the first time, I believe, a movie about a social network, about something that was in all of our hands all the time. I don't know.
I just checked. It was 2010. Man, 14
Wow.
years ago.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
I was still on Facebook in 2010. I don't use it anymore. I keep it for Facebook Marketplace and that's it. Otherwise, I want nothing to do with it. But yeah, I was like still actively using Facebook at that point. So it was compelling for a lot of reasons. I'm not saying it's my favorite movie ever, but one of the best scores. I guess it's a score, not a soundtrack, right?
Yeah.
It's instrumental.
Sure.
So
What
if you're
was
not
your
on,
other? Oh, go ahead, Jimmy.
no. Well, now we're going to talk a little bit about social profiles or platforms.
Yeah,
So
go to
you're
the next slide.
anti-Facebook.
Let's do it.
Where are you now?
X. I'm on X. I'm still on X, Twitter.
And you're
I've been
calling
there-
it X. I'm surprised.
It took me a while, but I'll still say tweet it out. I like to say tweet it out, not just tweeted. That won't change. That one, man, I've been on Twitter since probably 2010, 2009, forever. It's like a body of work at this point. And Michael Batnick once tweeted out, he's like, you better go back and delete everything. He had this whole reason of why you don't actually want all this old stuff out there, especially embarrassingly, like a hot take from 2013. What were you even thinking back then?
It's so true.
I still like it. I think I'm rooting for them. I'm rooting for X. I want it to get back to how great it was. I think it's just a growing pain with the way things are going there.
Yeah.
I'm not going to leave it, just like I'm not leaving the US just because I'm not happy about what's going on politically. I'm not going to defect to Canada because the platform's still really good.
Yeah.
LinkedIn, awesome, but they're very confused. Like, what are you guys doing? Are you a social network? Are you a business Rolodex? Are you a resume database? Is this where I say happy birthday? Is this where I hear about somebody's personal problems, like their depression?
Yeah.
Or is this where I see somebody bragging about accolades or achievements? I'm so humbled. I'm humbled.
Yeah.
We don't even talk like a human being on there. I'm humbled. What is that? But it is the place to talk about, like, this is something I did. This is an accomplishment. It's like the high school cafeteria for adults.
What about TikTok?
I'm a fan. I know it's problematic. I have posted some videos there. I think it's cool and entertaining. I mean, it's the best algorithm on the planet. It's an extremely impressive and addictive and Chinese owned platform.
Yeah.
So they can, you know, like Scott Galloway talks about this. If you wanted to take apart the US slowly and without violence, you would do it through something like TikTok to make us hate each other.
Yep.
Yeah. Instagram?
To make us, yeah, that one, I'm on there. I have a private profile for myself. My companies are public. It's good. It's super addictive. You have to be careful. I'm very much, if there's something in the feed that's like a neutral to a bad feeling, I either mute it or unfollow it. I don't have any patience for, because your inputs, it's affecting your brain, your mood, your creativity. If you're seeing things that make you feel bad about yourself, even 20% of the time, it's like, I need to lose weight. I need to be more successful. I need more money. That's not helping you.
Totally.
So that one's a little gnarly. And the algorithm there, like, oh, it's listening through the microphone too. You guys ever noticed that with the ads?
Oh, 100%. Like all the time.
Yeah. We'll finish a client call and then I'll take like a 2-minute mental break and see what's happening on Instagram. And there's my client's profile front and center.
Gosh.
100%.
Do you think
trust
financial...
Meta. You guys, Cambridge Analytica was the first
100%.
one. And like ever since, it's ask forgiveness, not permission. That's what that company does. And you're the product. And if you're okay with that and you enjoy it for a recommended amount of 15 minutes a day, Jimmy, then go for it.
Do you think that financial services will meaningfully exist on Instagram, or do you think they do already? Like, how do you think our space will interplay with that platform? Because I've heard mixed takes.
It's important to be there because
Yeah.
that's where it's one of the top used, other than TikTok. I think it's like the top hours per day of attention.
Yep.
In the US. Your clients are there. It doesn't matter what age they are, they're on there. They're on there because that's where their family, friends, kids, like they want to see those photos. They're on there. There's a gentle and correct way to be a brand on Instagram or a personal brand.
Yeah.
You could see, like Nick Majuli does a great job there. And that's driving views to his blog, and it's educational content. This is again back to the being thirsty, right? So when you're on there, are you adding value, or are you always posting links back to your own thing? Like book a call, buy my coaching course.
Yeah.
Right. Once in a while you do that. Not every post. There's a big appetite though, you guys, for financial wellness. This goes back to that anxiety that I saw when I started WealthVoice in 2020. It hasn't gotten better. The market's not doing crazy gymnastics like it was that year. It's still a little gymnastic, but not like 2020. People are freaked out about money. Millennials are having the hardest time. Like we can't buy homes at nearly the rate our parents did.
Yeah.
Right. So then you start to feel bad about yourself. A lot of millennials don't even have enough income where they're investing, or they didn't do it early. And now they're like, well, it's too late. I'm 40 something and I don't have any investment accounts. Too late. I give up. But
Yeah.
people just need to be reminded that the best thing you can do is invest something. Just do something. Even if you think, like if $100 a month, even when you're young, God, what a difference that could make when you're 22.
Oh my gosh. If I had been doing that when I was 22, I would be so happy with myself right now.
Yeah.
Time to get started.
Oh, I'm started. I'm started now, but later than I would have been had I had any interaction with this industry earlier than I did, which is around 30.
Yeah. People just need the information to be in an accessible language. There's so much jargon in this industry. And that's a beauty and a popular avenue of TikTok, right? Which is people making financial information more accessible and explaining it, and like taking off all of the ways that it's obscured with acronyms and like, just make things kind of simple, but show the charts, compound interest. It's very compelling.
Yeah. People like a visual graph.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to tell us the other thing that you would be doing if it wasn't financial services? I
think I would have been a really good litigator.
I love that.
So there's like, I have a dichotomy in me. Like on one hand, I hate the idea of selling my time for money. I'm not a barista or a babysitter, right? But we all have an hourly rate on some level if you think about it. Oftentimes you do have to give an hourly rate for some things, even when you're speaking on stage. In a way, that's an hourly rate. Lawyers have hourly rates. They're high. I have a very high hourly rate because I've, assembled expertise over 15 years of a career that I can give you an answer in a few minutes that you otherwise wouldn't have gotten. And it is expensive. Lawyers do the same thing. Other professional services do that. I love the verbal sword play. I've always been good at that. It comes naturally to me. I don't have any spatial intelligence or visual. I can't read a map, or I can't look at a room and figure out where the furniture could go, but I can see things in paragraphs. So like any career with verbal, I've always thought, or music, right? Like the soundtrack thing. Those are my senses that are strong.
Love it. What do you do for fun?
I go rollerblading. It's my favorite thing. I go to this track called the Veloway here in Austin.
Fun.
And it's a 3-mile loop through hill country, one-way track, only bikes and rollerblades allowed. You go in the middle of the day when no one's there and just rock out.
Yes.
It's like meditation.
My best friend loves rollerblading from Santa Monica, and she's on that pier with her blades all the time.
It's just a free flow. It's almost like when you get in the zone when you're riding a motorcycle. I feel like it's that for me.
I totally could see that.
Do you
What's
own
your
a
thing?
motorcycle?
No, but that's one of my other paths untaken, was to be a Hells Angels chick.
Okay.
I've taken a couple lessons and I enjoyed it. I don't want to get injured at this point. Like I'm in my late 30s. I'm trying to be a little more careful. The healthcare is so expensive here. I don't want to have a broken hip or leg, or like I'm just trying to stay in my lane of what I know I'm good at physically.
Yeah. As we all try to do.
One quick side note, Elena, it took us 15 episodes to have Hell's Angels mentioned.
Well, better late than never. All right, last question. We like to wrap the show with a little moment of gratitude. So give a shout out to someone in the industry you admire, maybe someone who works with you. Just say something nice about someone who you think might be listening today.
Tom Lydon has been a friend and I would say a mentor and been really wonderful to me. A lot of great introductions. I always feel good after I talk to Tom. He's kind of got a calming brilliance and just like a wisdom where you think he's got this 360 view. I love that. And just, when you vibe with somebody, it happens to me like once or twice a year. It's an animal instinct thing. Like, oh, I smell you, you smell me. We're friends already. I had that with Tom. He's been wonderful to me. He introduced me to Phil Pearlman. I also got some really good insights from Phil. Follow Dr. Phil Pearlman's Pearl Institute. And that comes to mind. I mean, there are so many great people in the industry. I was talking with Tyrone Ross the other day. Like, he's always there to have your back and help, and just that whole win-win abundance thing. Like, love him too. That's just in the last couple of weeks. That's on the top of my mind.
He's a good vibes radiator. He's amazing.
Very positive.
Yes. Well, we have loved having you on the show. Thank you so much for sharing all of your brilliance and insights with us. And we hope we get to do it again soon in some other capacity. To our listeners, we hope that you learned something new and enjoyed hearing Emily's story. Be sure to write us via email at pressplay@streetcredpr.com to tell us what you think, ask us any questions, suggest any guests, or even to give us your best and latest Vitamix recipe. Thanks again for tuning in, and we can't wait to introduce you to our next guest. Bye.